The Hawks lose 3-2 in the shootout to the Nashville Predators, but there was a lot of good stuff happening for Chicago in this game. We'll talk about it next on the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. Sarah's here running the show. Hawks lose 3-2 to the Nashville Predators in the shootout. The Hawks get goals from Connor Bedard, his 13th, and Alec Martinez, his second. But it's not enough as the Hawks give up a late goal in the third to tie it and then lose it in the shootout. We've got a ton to talk about in this post-game show. We're glad you're with us. Thanks for being here. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. If you're catching up on the podcast, thank you. We love you too. Do us a favor and subscribe on your favorite app, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Let's just start with the 3 stars because I feel like we have so much stuff to get to. I might forget. So I don't forget, the 3 stars of the game: Ryan O'Reilly, Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos. It's Nashville. It's home cooking. They have stupid chance. Who cares? So here are your nominees for the 4th star of the game. And I have a prediction for how it's going to go. Frank Nazar is your first nominee. Frank was a +2, 6 shots on goal, 7 shot attempts, and 3 hits. Connor Bedard was a goal, +2, 24-44 of ice time, 3 shots on goal, 4 shot attempts, credit with a hit. 1-5 and lost 7 faceoffs. Baby steps. And your next candidate, Arvid Soderblom, who stopped 39 of 41 Nashville Predators shots. So get your votes in. We'll reveal the winner at the end of the show. Where do you want to start? There's so much to get to. What do you want to start with?
I mean, it's top to bottom. This was a game that I think there's very little to be upset about. I think, just from a summary standpoint, like they fought back. They, for the most part, didn't just play a 20-minute penalty kill in the third period.
Yeah.
Even though the game gets tied late and you go to overtime, there were portions of that third where they're fighting back. And then, overtime and shootout, it's a lot of it is just kind of luck of the draw.
Coin flip. Yep.
Coin flip stuff.
They had a breakaway in overtime. Puck went to Vlasic. Bedard was off on his own, and the puck just jumped over his stick.
Over his stick, yeah.
Power.
Get on that. Bigger stick
He
blades.
should have taken my wooden stick. It wouldn't have happened if my 35-year-old wood stick was on the ice.
He would have definitely controlled the puck with that one. So it's just it's tough because it's just like you get 2 teams, even though the Predators are 30th in the league, to a person outside of Bedard, they're still better than.
You want to talk about underachieving?
Yeah, exactly. So to come out where you controlled a lot of the play for portions of the game, you get to overtime, you get an opportunity to get to the shootout. It's hard to be upset with anything. Only thing I would be upset with, and it's futile to be upset with it because no one knows the answer, is the goaltender interference.
Yeah. I wish, to me, if I'm a referee, and I know this sounds like home cooking, and maybe it is, I don't know. If I'm not sure, I call it a goal, then review it for interference. I feel like when you call it interference first, unless it is obvious interference, you should call it a goal, then take a look at it.
My only thought was they said it was an interference on Foligno, and maybe they got it crossed and thought it was on Reichel, but they said Foligno because he scored.
Yeah, because Foligno scored from outside the crease.
Yeah, because Reichel was the one that was closer to Saros when the goal is scored, but I think it was the fact that Foligno's stick got tied up with Saros and he lost his stick. So I think what the referee thought was
he couldn't regain his positioning after being turned from the contact from Foligno, but Foligno's in the crease because he gets pushed into the crease. Then as he's trying to leave, he gets in the way of Saros' stick, but he's got no choice. He's not a helicopter. He can't just go straight up and then straight down.
He's not just going to leap over him.
Right.
He's got to get away. He's got to get away in that spot. Yeah, it's just, again, it just feels like it's futile. You just feel defeated in any conversation about what is and is not goaltender interference, because the league is just going to move the goalposts to make their ruling work. I don't think it was, but again, I'm not the referee. You could have had a 3-1 lead if that goal had counted, but you didn't. But I think that's really the only thing I would gripe with this game. Otherwise, I think there's enough that we saw, like a good response from the team. This was a one-off road game is always weird.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they put in the effort that they at least deserved to come away with a point. You would like to come away with 2, but you at least come away with a point in a shootout where it just comes down to who has more skill, whose goalie can make a save. And Nashville comes out on top. So I mean, there's enough positive out of this game that I don't think it's flip tables or anything like that.
No, I mean, and look, it's the shot attempts and the shots on goal seem pretty lopsided, right? It's shot attempts were 65-43 for Nashville. Shots were 34-23. But when you dig in, high danger chances were 15-11. Scoring chances were 29-23. And this is at all strengths. Remember, Nashville had, 4 power plays in a row?
They had 4 power plays before the Blackhawks had 1.
Yeah. And so, they're going to have it at all strengths. It's going to be farther away that way. So I don't know. The Hawks are right here. I would say if there's one thing that it just feels like a missed opportunity, because they had so many great looks that they couldn't convert on. Nazar gets a breakaway. Doc hits a breakaway late in the shift, so you forgive that. Bertuzzi's got a point blanker. Nazar's got a point blanker. Like, there were just so many chances that could have gone in. And I did notice, and you pointed this out too, like they were hell-bent on going 5-hole on Saros, including Bedard in a shootout, who actually did beat him, but Saros got the back leg on it and kicked it wide.
He got enough of it.
Yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting. They were all going that way.
It's proper scouting of your opponent. And Darren Pang said on the broadcast, when you get those chances in tight to a smaller goalie like Saros is, you want to try and get him to where he's going down in the butterfly and then try and elevate it up over his tiny shoulders. But yeah, I mean, it's if they felt like their best chance was to try and go 5-hole on him, that's the route they went. Bedard's goal was not 5-hole, but it was between the left leg pad and the glove. Yeah, really great shot. The Martinez was just a bank it off the boards and see what happens kind of play, and it goes in. Sometimes you need bounces like that. Like it's far between this year where the Hawks have had a bounce go their way.
They've had enough go against them, that's for sure. Not to make an excuse, but I mean, but the good stat on that line, the Nazar, Bertuzzi, Bedard line, they were awesome together. Mm-hmm. And if you go look at their stats together, that line had a 9 shot attempts for, 8 against, 7 scoring chances for, 3 against. They scored 2 goals. That's what matters. Mm-hmm. Expected goals for 0.69, nice, to 0.23. So that's a 75.2 expected goals for percentage. That's really good. They were really an outstanding line in this game. And what was the stat? You said 20. They had 12 of the 23 shots on goal through regulation.
Through regulation,
yeah,
they had 12 of 23 Blackhawks shots on goal. So that's over 50%.
Well, we were talking about it during the pregame too, and
I'd be willing to bet that they had most of the 3 shots in overtime.
Yeah,
because Bedard had 1 at least, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
but we were talking about it in the pregame about how Bedard's never really played with a guy like Nazar, who is a puck carrying, speed, dynamic offensive player. Like he's played with Tavo, he's played with Taylor Hall, who are at this point in their career kind of different than Nazar.
Yeah.
Nazar is a guy who has created a lot of his chances with his speed alone. And I think it's to a point where the opponent now has to be aware of him too. And no, he hasn't converted, and he will. At some point, those are going to start going in for him. Mm-hmm. But it's a guy that the opponent really has to keep an eye on now.
Yeah, I mean, you get multiple threats around Connor Bedard, and the game can start opening up not only for him but also for those other guys, because the thought is eventually you get a group of guys playing together where it's a pick your poison.
Yeah,
are you going to key in and shut down Bedard? Well, okay, now Frank Nazar is going to beat you, or Tyler Bertuzzi is going to be left open for a backdoor play where he's really good at converting those. Yeah, that group tonight was impressive. I'm very happy that the first game I said it in the pregame. Like, I would really love for that group to stick together and have a good game, because they've had small opportunities to do it leading up to today, and then they blew it out of the water today. Like, it's like that is probably the first time that I can recall off the top of my head this year where like a line has been put together and it's immediately like, yep, done.
It works.
Do not change it. Do not change a thing. Like, even if they get shelled one night, don't change it. I think that is a perfectly, like, I think that's a well-balanced line, because you have a guy like Bertuzzi that'll play around the net. It can play aggressive, can go in corners. Frank Nazar is a guy that's not afraid to go into corners. Like, he'll forecheck with speed. He'll offensively get to the middle of the ice. Connor Bedard, that's his objective too, is to get to the danger areas, and has creativity. Like, don't mess with that. Like, let that ride.
Who did Bedard go into the boards on? Was it Brady Shea? I think he went in and like stick lifted and checked him into the boards and took the puck away.
Yeah, he had a couple board battles tonight.
Well, he's getting that message from Sorensen that playing responsibly in your own end will lead to offense on the other side. Like, you can't just coast and stand at the blue line waiting for the puck to leave. You've got to stay back. You've got to make things happen, because what happens is, inevitably, if you're sort of cheating, your D is going to get pinned in. They're going to be exhausted. They're going to be making desperation passes to no one, and it's going to be icing. He's starting to learn that he's starting to reap the benefits of playing an all-around game. And look, he's never going to be, Frank Selke. He's not. But if he can just be like replacement level defensively, you'll take that from Connor Bedard. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because I got a Twitter notification that says LeBron James is now following you.
I'm sure it's really him.
No, it's not.
Okay, good.
But I had to check.
Yeah. Well, keep shooting for the stars.
No, yeah. It's Bedard is that his game will evolve, and I think the more it's not necessarily like you have to be Jonathan Toews. I don't think he'll ever be 200-foot guy Jonathan Toews, but be more engaged and be more willing to get into the defensive battles, and that'll suffice, because his offensive talent is going to continue to grow to that elite top of the league level, where you figure he's going to be, if not leading the league in production, that's for a stretch of his career, in the top 3, top 5. Like, as long as you're doing that, and then you're also willing and engaging in the defensive play, it's going to be just fine.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's for, fans who have been around for the dynasty, Patrick Kane, when they were winning Stanley Cups, wasn't as complete of a player as he was later in his career. He had his best years personally after the Cups, in terms of statistical production. His MVP
and like year was the year after the 15 Cup.
And that's when he started at least feigning interest in
looking
defending.
Like he cared to play some defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it does help. It does matter. And look, back when the Hawks were winning Stanley Cups, he didn't have to worry about defending because he knew that Keith or Seabrook or Jalmerson or Oduya or whoever or Taves or Hossa was going to dig the puck out and get it to him.
He was mainly playing with Jonathan Taves or Patrick Sharp or Brandon Saad or sometimes with Marian Hossa. Like, he had other guys that were going to play defense up front.
Yes, exactly. All right, we got to hit the break zone. Back with any super chats next and a whole lot more on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. But if you're looking for the perfect way to elevate your day and elevate the puck, at Verilife Dispensary, they have everything you need from premium cannabis products to expert advice. So whether you're new to cannabis or a connoisseur, their knowledgeable bud tenders are there to help. They've got 8 convenient locations across Illinois, so discovering your perfect experience has never been easier. Verilife proudly offers a price match guarantee, ensuring you get the best value by matching local competitors' prices on eligible products. Don't miss out on their latest deals and exclusive offers only at Verilife Cannabis stores and online at verilife.com. Mention the code CHGO25 in store and you'll receive 25% off one regular price item. And if you order online, you can still use that code in the store. Just walk in, say, hey, I want to redeem code CHGO25, and they'll apply it to that item. So verilife.com. Walk into a store, a Verilife store, and mention that code CHGO25.
And when you've kicked back with all your Verilife products, you can pop open your phone and open up that Circa Sportsbook Illinois app and lay down some good, smart wagers on all your favorite sports. It could be pro or college football. Only a few more games left in either. And the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois, because Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service, so you can bet on all of your favorite teams in every game this season, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it. You can fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. You must be 21 or older, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, you or they can call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yes, do that if you have a gambling problem. Do we have any super chats, Sarah? All right, well, let's use this opportunity to share some good news with the folks. If you missed it, our buddy Greg Boyson will soon be back in one of these here chairs.
Yeah, awesome.
So we have... That is loud and appropriate.
That is awake.
So we're not totally ready to reveal when his first post-game show will be, but he'll be with us for a number of post-game shows for the rest of the season. He'll also continue his CHGO wrestling show with Big Dave. So that's going to be going on. He also just started writing at Chicago Hockey Now.
Yeah.
So go follow Chicago Hockey Now and make sure you're following Greg. I believe he's still doing his Substack stuff. So tons of Greg, and we can't wait to have him back in these chairs.
It's been Greg up in your face that you want.
That's right. It's been a long month without him, so we're very excited that our management here at CHGO, specifically here at CHGO, fought really hard to get Greg back in the fold, and he will be back post games. So very, very, very excited for that. So if you're excited about that news, do us a favor and hit that like button. And if you don't like the news, hit the like button anyway. Don't be a jerk. We'd appreciate that. The other bit of news we should share.
I was going to say something, but we're on Fast Channel. So.
Well, say it later. We will be doing, for the Four Nations, at least post-game shows for the Team USA games.
Yeah.
And the championship, whatever the championship game is.
It's going to be USA.
Of course.
USA, baby, all the way. Yeah, I'm very... thought you were going to chime in.
No.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I know there's no U.S. hockey players that are Blackhawks on this team yet, but it's gonna be a good time. I've been excited for this tournament since they've announced it, and yeah, doing post games for Team USA should be a lot of fun.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun to watch
do post game shows that matter.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch games that are super high intense, high skilled. Yeah, it's gonna be good. And games like that where you don't have a rooting, you do have a rooting interest.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's a little different. Those are a ton of fun.
But I can call somebody a pudwhack and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't wait. By the way, looking at the hockey stat cards, our friends with the purple and blue lines, not the big old dong that the heat map showed today. But the highest rated players in this game: Tyler Bertuzzi, Seth Jones, Alec Martinez, Connor Bedard, Frank Nazar, and Arvid Soderblom. The top 6 rated players for either team in this game. And Seth Jones has been a huge story this season, so we should talk about his first game back from maybe the worst game he's played here. He had an assist, was a +2, 25-55 of ice time, a shot, 3 shot attempts, 2 hits, and a block shot, a takeaway.
He was everywhere.
Defended. Who was that breakaway that he stopped? Was it Sissons?
Marcia Show?
He broke up. Yeah, it was basically hit 1-on-1, and he broke up. He actually made a couple.
It was the play on the power play.
Yeah,
they had like 3 just like wee passes in a row, and then Bedard's gets intercepted, and Jones chased him down. I forget who it was though.
He had a good overtime too.
He chased it down and broke up that chance. He was everywhere tonight. Like, this was the exact kind of game that you wanted to see him respond with, where he's fighting hard in battles, he's winning them, and then he was active offensively. He was moving the puck well, had some good defensive plays, like was aggressive with the puck in overtime. Like, tonight was one of those games that Seth Jones can have, and could have them more consistently.
Well, that's what makes the ones like last game so frustrating.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You could have that more consistently when the whole team gets going, because Seth Jones is a top end, top 4 defenseman, and he's not a guy that's going to drive a team. I think we all know that now. Like, right. He's not a number 1 defenseman who is going to drive a team. He is not Quinn Hughes or Cale Makar level or anything like that. He's a few notches below, but he's still a guy that when the team around him is buzzing, he's usually part of that.
Right.
And a big contributor to that. So the team tonight was buzzing. And Frank Nazar and that top line was really pushing a lot and controlling a lot. And they got a lot of opportunities to do it. And not just that line. Like, I think there were times where the Foligno and Doc and Reichel line was pretty noticeable.
Yeah.
Mikheyev had a number of really good plays utilizing his speed. And so you had, Martinez had a pretty good game too. Like, when that's all going well, it's rare that Seth Jones is then going to bring the team down. Like, he's a guy that can elevate his play up to a team that is elevated. So I'm happy for him to have that kind of game in a response game after being one of the worst performances he had all year, at least.
And that I said pregame, if he has another game like that, then we've got a massive problem in our hands.
Right.
But based on the way he was at practice yesterday and this week, I would have been shocked if he came out. Like, you could tell he was embarrassed. He was humiliated.
You think, yeah.
His mom is sending him all the negative press because she sees all of it.
Him know. Yeah.
And
maybe I don't know if his dad was on the trip, but maybe it was his dad's turn to.
I don't know, but
do that.
Look, like, this is a guy who's had a good NHL career with a good reputation, makes a lot of money, and the fact that look, it is. I will admit, like, it is the lowest bar to clear that you should at least give everything you have every game, and he hadn't been doing that. But to see him bounce back with it is a good start. So let's see if it continues. Let's see if he can stack them, because that's been him and this whole team all year. Is, look, they lost this game in a shootout, fine, but I think most of us, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, maybe don't, but most of us feel like positive after this game. There was more good than bad. You had the guys you want to performing, the guys you want producing, the leaders you want leading, and you just ended up on the wrong side of a coin flip, right? Now what happens against Vegas? Mm-hmm. That's the question. And if they lose 5-2 to Vegas, it's not the biggest shock in the world. It's how they lose 5-2 to Vegas that I want to see.
Yeah, if you would have said, like, oh, they're going to lose this game, but how they played in the loss makes a difference. Because, yeah, it still stinks to lose. You want to win. That's
right,
why,
of course.
That's why we're all here. But
that's what we came here for, guys, to win.
It's one of the probably most positive outcomes and feelings you can have in a loss because of the bright spots to it. Like, you're not squinting hard to find a silver lining in this game. You have a number of them. So it's disappointing, but I feel like this is one where, you know, they can come away with the loss and be like, gave it everything you had.
Yeah.
And it came down to, you know, one, if Soderblom makes one extra save in the shootout, maybe things go different.
0 for 9 in his career in a shootout.
Yeah, I saw that stat.
Can they put Mrazek in for shootouts?
Not great. Oh boy.
Or that practice goalie that was there the other
day.
day?
Random third practice goalie.
He was Joe NHL from Eschel.
What do we say? Goalie McGoalface. Yeah. Mark Lazarus pointed it out. I completely forgot this narrative, but when Robin Lehner and Corey Crawford were the tandem in Chicago, I think it was like Lehner could do nothing to save a breakaway or a shootout attempt, and it was just like, oh, sub in Corey Crawford because we're going to a shootout. Who's ice cold? Like,
ice cold. He's got to be ready. He's fresh. He's fresh.
But no, I mean, it's funny. This is only the second time that they've been in a shootout this season. They won the first one back November 2nd against the LA Kings, and probably, I think offhand, might be only the 5th game that's even gone to overtime this year. Like,
it hasn't happened a lot.
Gotten to overtime. They usually, you know, are down one late in the third, and then they give up an empty netter, and then we say, oh well, if they didn't give up that empty netter, this would be their goal difference. Like, this was one where it still stinks because you had the lead into the third period. You get the late tying goal. It's still, you know, a bit of a gut punch, but you know, the way they played in overtime, you know, you had Teravainen score in the first round of the shootout. You had a little bit of life. Bedard's just trickles wide. It's just a little short. In tonight's game.
Yeah. A couple folks in the chat talking about the low ice time for Donato, Hall, and Maroon. True fourth line minutes for those guys. Donato played 12:06. Taylor Hall played. Why am I bad at this? 11:45. Pat Maroon 9:46. He did have a 5-minute major, so that factored in. But yeah, not a lot from that line generated. They had 0 shot attempts, 4 and 2 against. Nope, I'm looking at that wrong. I am really bad. 5 shot attempts, 4 and 8 against in the game. They weren't out there much, it seemed.
I noticed Taylor Hall more.
Yeah, Donato was
than the other two outside of the Maroon fight. Donato, I think he had a few chances where he might have, you know, had a good shooting lane and just wasn't able to get one off. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I feel like in this game when you had, I mean, you go back, you look at the amount of time that Connor Bedard played. Like, when you have that line playing the way that they did
play
tonight,
the hot hand.
You play the line that's making things happen. So
24:44 for Bedard, 17:04 for Nazar, 18:27 for Bertuzzi. But Bedard was out there all the time.
Yeah,
he had defenseman numbers.
I feel like he didn't leave the ice for the overtime, and then I mean, he's playing, you know, probably the full 2 minutes on a power play. Like, it's a little different for him. But yeah, I mean, you play the guys that are going tonight, and if that means your fourth line gets shorted a little bit, then that's just kind of how it goes. Yeah,
Timotei, I don't know how to say that, man. I'm sorry. Yurko says Brody seemed fine to me in this game. Yeah, I think Brody had a decent game too. Made a nice defensive play late that was called out by Darren Pang. I don't know. I think, like, that's what is so aggravating, because it feels like a lot of the veterans on this team need like a rock bottom game to reawaken and then say, well, that wasn't good. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
And then they get back to the level you sort of expect them to be at, and then how quickly they go back down. I just hope that, again, they can just start stringing together good efforts. Good. No one expects them to beat Vegas. No one. No one thinks they're going to beat the Vegas Golden Knights. If they do, awesome. If they don't, we'll talk about it, but it depends on, again, like you said, how do you look in the loss? I just want them to look better. And Max earlier in the chat said they looked like an NHL team tonight. Yes, the team they were tonight is what we expected them to look like when this roster was assembled. Competitive in the game, generating scoring chances, the offensive players playing well offensively, the defensive players playing well defensively, and you're in every game and it's exciting.
Yeah, and it's a game that can flow back and forth. You know, no one expected this team, you know, at the beginning of the year or now to be going into games where, you know, you're going to be controlling the play for 60 minutes, you know, varsity versus JV, whatever. But it shouldn't have been the all too common get caved for a full 60 minutes.
Right.
Where we've seen that multiple times this year. But this game was, you know, back and forth in the first period. You go into the first intermission tied. You have a good stretch in the second period, 2 goals in 87 seconds. I didn't know this team could do that.
Right. Is that allowed?
And then, or no, you weren't tied in the first period. You were down 1-0 because of the goalie interference. But you took the lead in the second period. You had good stretches in that period. And then the third period, Predators control most of the first half of it. And then you have some pushback. You have some pushback from the Blackhawks where they're not just playing, you know, bend, don't break defense with a 1-goal lead. Like, they actually had some pushback. They had a couple chances in the third that UC Saros just had a masterclass.
It was great
in making the saves. Nazar had a really good chance late in the game, like, you know, and then the Predators get the tire, and then you go to overtime. Like, it's a game that flowed back and forth that felt like a normal. This felt like a normal hockey game. Like, there wasn't anything crazy. There wasn't anything weird. You had a goaltender interference BS go on. You had a fight. You had overtime. You had a shootout.
It looked like an NHL game.
This was a good game.
If this was a Winter Classic, more people would have watched.
I want more games like this and less games where you're just like, what way can the Blackhawks lose tonight?
Yeah.
Like, what random stat is this 27-year-old rookie? What record are they going to break in a win tonight in their first ever game? I just want games that are more like this, that feel like a normal Thursday night January hockey game where you know, win or lose, you take away some good stuff and you move on to the next one.
All right, we got to hit the break zone. We're way behind the break zone. We'll finish that up. I know we got some super chats to get to, and we'll be back in a moment on CHGO Blackhawks.
Ads.
That's how we're employed, buddy.
I know.
Prize Picks is the best way to get daily fantasy action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida.
You should say all those
in case you were wondering.
The regional accent of each.
California. What are you doing here, Stuart?
405.
Prize Picks is the best way to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. So when my rare picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your accounts this sports season. It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Do it. It's awesome. Download the app today. Use code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup with the code CHGO. Prize Picks, run your game.
Yes. And all that money you're going to be winning with Prize Picks, those big shiny coins, you're going to need a nice pair of sunglasses to protect your eyes from all that bright, shininess in your pocket. That's where our friends at Shady Rays come in handy. You can get ready for the seasons ahead with quality shades built to last. Shady Rays has you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor activities. They also have hundreds of options and styles to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect match for your eyes. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the season. You can head to shadyrays.com, use the code CHGO. You're going to get 35% off of polarized sunglasses. So try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
1.5 million stars.
Damn.
Collectively.
That is a lot of stars.
That's a lot.
All right, we've got a super chat from Scott Valdez. Says Ilya Safanov is on the talks of a possible Datsuk comp. Isn't he kind of out of the plans these days?
Ilya Safanov?
Yeah.
I mean, he's on the fringe of the prospect system, I'd say. He's in his mid-20s, playing in Russia. I believe his contract is up in the KHL this season. He's a big center, which I think the Blackhawks system could use. I don't know if he's much more than a bottom 6 NHL center if he tops out. I don't know where the Pavel Datsuk comparison is coming from.
I wonder if he's talking about Kancherov. I wonder if he's getting Kancherov mixed up, because he's the one who is lighting up the KHL.
I believe Kancherov is closer to a Pavel Datsuk.
I'm imagining that's what he meant.
Safanov.
I think he meant Kancherov instead.
Yeah. No.
Another bad pick by Kyle Davidson.
Yeah.
Should have played the game.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't...
Chris Reagan.
Pavel Datsuk's one of those special unicorn type players.
Yeah.
So if you're comparing someone to Pavel Datsuk, you better be certain about that one.
Yeah, I would think he's talking about Roman Kancherov, who's having an amazing year.
And even Kancherov,
he's not Pavel Datsuk.
No. But he's good. He's been doing really good.
Yeah, it is definitely someone you should be excited about. In 25 games with Magnitogorsk Metallurg, love that band, 12 goals, 11 assists, 23 points. And remember, the KHL scoring is not the same as NHL scoring.
No, the point for point is a little different, but for a 20-year-old to be that, producing at that rate, that's impressive for a guy in the KHL, especially one that has expressed interest in getting to North America and getting to the NHL. No problem, Scott. You don't have to apologize. It's impressive to see that, because a lot of times there will be prospects that are NHL draft picks, higher NHL draft picks that kind of get snubbed by their Russian teams because those teams don't view it as their responsibility to develop young guys that are going to leave their team. So some teams operate that way. I know that was the case with Michkov when he was over there. That was kind of the case with Demidov up until this year, where he's now playing the actual KHL and playing at a high level. So for Kancherov to be one of the top producers at his age is impressive. And he was part of that team that you named. Was because I'm gonna butcher it too. They were the KHL champions last year.
Yeah.
And he had 13 points in 23 games in the KHL postseason. So he's a guy that's, again, as we kind of mentioned, this prospect pool that's coming up with the Blackhawks. Hey, Moofs, I'm not that short.
Mm-hmm.
They're guys that have been in winning atmospheres before and have been guys that have led teams that have won before. So Kancherov's fits in that group as well.
I'm looking at points per game in the KHL because he missed a handful of games. I think the most games played for a KHL player is 47. This year he's played 25.
He started the season. He had a surgery. I can't remember what it was. It might have been shoulder.
So he's .920 points per game. Nice. He's 20 years old. The 11 players ahead of him, aside from Daniil Emerson, who is 22, are all 24 or older. Josh Lavo, NHL veteran, 31. Nick Patan, NHL experience, 29. Kirill Piplenko, 28. Trevor Murphy, 29. Evgeny Kuznetsov, you may remember him, 32. Nikita Gusev, 32. Barbanov, 30. Lyndon Vey, NHL player, 33. Noted Pudwag Anthony D'Angelo, 29.
No longer in the KHL.
Yep. Max Shabanov is 24. So as a 20-year-old, he's up there with the leaders in points per game in the KHL. So Kantsarov is definitely someone to be excited about. 100%. Thank you for the super chat, though.
Thank you, Scott.
Appreciate that. Make sure you get your votes in for the 4-star of the game, by the way. Is it close, Sarah, or do we have a blowout? No, we have a blowout situation.
It's not like a blowout, but I mean, I already know who's going to win.
All right, well, rally. We want to make Sarah's job more difficult. She's coasting. She's already got the graphics done.
Yeah.
So, let's stack it. Yeah, challenger, exactly.
We got a post-game quote here from Arvid Soderblom via Ben Pope. It says, quote, "It's tough to lose no matter what, but especially today, I felt like we played good as a team and a good game by myself. It sucks not getting the win." Yeah, that's the sentiment. It's a good game, but you just fall short of getting the 2-point reward for it. So it's tough.
He's right, though.
But it's something that you can.
It was a much better game.
You can roll some momentum from this game into your next one.
It's something to build off, too. I think this could have been, after that Calgary game, if this went the way that went, you've got a big problem. And that was kind of my concern walking in tonight, was because of the way that they had practiced since that game, I was optimistic. But boy, if they had another just crap fest, I don't know what you do. Because you're just, I don't know if you start the trades earlier than before, or I don't know. I'm glad it didn't happen. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I think this isn't a game that's gonna, to steal a term from our friends at What Chaos, it's not gonna galvanize the Blackhawks.
No.
For a season resurgence, but it can at least, once the sting of the actual loss L in the loss column, you go back, maybe, you do some video work, you're probably going to feel a little bit better than a normal loss coming off of this game. And, and that can roll into, practice, that can roll into the next game on Saturday. You're back home. Like, you can come away from this dad's trip with pretty much good feelings across the board, except for, leaving a point behind in Nashville. But at this stage in the game, like, points aren't, they're nice to grab, and you feel better when you get more points in the standings, but you're not hinging on every point because you're in a playoff race. So it's,
and if you're looking to tank, give that extra point to Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
give them one last chance to get a better pick than you.
That's true. Yeah, I think it's just it's a game where you can come away with some good feelings.
What do you make of Nashville, by the way? Because it was a team that, after adding Stamkos and Marchessault and Shea and just improving the team with like legitimately stud players, they have sucked. And I don't know. Do you think this is a one-year anomaly, or are they going to be stuck in hockey hell for the next 10 years? Or
I think they got some of the same problems that the Blackhawks did, where they brought in a number of new faces and expected those new faces to be leading roles on the team without having much chemistry together.
Yeah.
And they got off to a really slow start. Stamkos was off to a slow start. They've started to pick it up in recent games.
Scored a very Stamkosian goal tonight.
Yes, he did. That made me very sad.
28 points in 43 games for Stamkos.
Yeah. I mean, he started slow. The team started slow. They're fighting an uphill battle just to even, kind of get back into things. And then, yeah, I mean, you got Barry Trotz coming in as the GM. He's made some interesting moves to get rid of former first round picks. You got rid of Yaroslav Askarov, and you're rolling with UC Saros, and he's been good this year, relatively. But it just seems like it's another team that is just, they came in with high expectations. They've underperformed, and they're trying to dig themselves out of a hole, and they just don't really have the horses to really do that if Marchessault and Stamkos and Forsberg and Yossi are having the back of their hockey card seasons.
Yeah, I mean, and when all of them are not, it's hard to dig out from that.
Right, because they don't have the quality depth behind them to do that. Yeah,
and Reven is saying that we can't say that Nashville sucks. They do suck based on expectation. Their expectation was Stanley Cup, not only contender, but potential winner.
I'd say
that was the chatter coming out this season.
From the hockey world as a whole, if you're looking for pound most disappointing team, I think Nashville's at the top of your list.
I don't think there's any question about it. And I wonder, too, like, someone who's better at statistics than I am, because when I see math, I just want to cry. Like, if you could find throughout history teams that have added like 4 or more players of significance in an offseason and how that's gone. Because I do feel like, not to directly connect it to the Hawks, but I do feel like that was a big part of what hurt the Hawks early this year. Alex Vlasic told us on Tuesday, like, oh no, I'm sorry, it was Taylor Hall, said, like, we were worried about how bad the preseason was. And we had all chalked up the preseason to being bad of like, new faces getting to know each other. And here we are over halfway through the season, and it's still a lot of new faces still getting to know each other whilst having a foot out the door, most of them.
Right.
So, when you bring these new faces in, how long do they take to gel? And, does the fact that some of them are long-term, will that help too? Because I feel like, even though, Stamkos is going to start going down in his career, right?
Yeah.
But he's still going to be an effective player for the remainder of that contract.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine a bounce back year next year for Nashville. And if they went on some sort of Detroit hot streak like the Red Wings are doing right now, would that absolutely shock you?
No.
Like, could they win 7 of 10?
Yeah, if those top guys all start getting hot at the same time, yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting to. I would wonder if there's some way to measure that, like new additions versus performance out the gate, and how much that impacts a team. Because, boy, we're getting a firsthand look at how out of whack things have seemed, and it's guys who seemed like really safe investments for the Hawks. Like, no, aside from TJ Brody, nobody batted an eye at a single addition the Hawks made this offseason.
No. I think
it made all the sense in the world.
I think mostly across the board, people said, yeah, that was a good offseason.
Right.
For what they were trying to accomplish. And they just haven't gelled and accomplished half of what they had hoped yet. So I'm not saying that it's going to completely turn around and every one of those guys is going to get hot and teams are going to go on a run. That just doesn't seem, the way that this season has gone, doesn't seem like that gear is there for them. And none of those guys are, even with Stamkos and Marchessault being on the back ends of their careers, none of the guys that they brought in are at their level. Like, they're still that tier below of the free agent that they were. Like, Stamkos, he was the big fish. Marchessault was a guy that was, like, when he got to free agency, everyone was very surprised, and he was a top-tier guy. But, like, the Bertuzzi and Teravainen and those guys, they were in that next tier down of, like, okay, well, once those top contracts are done, what are the next guys going to look like?
Yeah, and I mean, if you listen to Elliot Friedman too, the Hawks were all in on Jake Gensel. I've not heard that from anyone else, but he is insistent on it.
And I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, no one is more plugged in than he is.
Well, and if they had gotten Gensel, they probably don't get one of, or if not both of, Bertuzzi and Teravainen, because Gensel was going to get more money than those guys were. And getting Gensel was going out to get the guy that you're going to play with Tyler Bedard all year, and probably for the majority of whatever.
Yeah, and he's having a point per game year in Tampa.
Signed, yeah. So,
but that's when we're talking earlier about the way Bedard looks with a guy like Nazar.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the Jake Gensel thing.
Yeah,
and potentially, as we talk about trade possibilities, Elias Pettersson or Mitch Marner, or if just praying to the hockey guides that somehow Mikko Rantanen becomes a free agent. I can't imagine it's happening, but somebody to see a guy of that caliber with Connor Bedard is because even with Nazar,
well, and he
looks different.
He's found some chemistry with Bertuzzi too.
Yeah,
and that didn't seem like, that was. It took some time to get to that point where they even played consistently with each other, and now it's built up, and they've got some rapport going. And now you throw in a guy like Nazar, who it seems like his game fits well with those two styles that they play with. Like we said, like I would love for this top line to get pretty much the rest of the season, unless they're atrocious for like a 10-game stretch.
If they're getting caved game after game,
like let this breathe, because the first returns on it were phenomenal.
Well, that's one of the things I like about Sorensen is he is willing to go through some growing pains on a line if he believes it's going to work.
Yeah,
and there aren't. I mean, again, Vegas is a different animal than Nashville at this point, so we'll see how that goes against them. But I'm not moving those two away, and especially with Bertuzzi and Bedard have great chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Bertuzzi is going to the front of that and putting a stick on the ice. Hit me. Yeah, that's what he's brought in to do.
Yeah,
be a pain in the ass in front of the net.
And he took a slow start, and but he's gotten here, and he's gotten to that point now where he's doing exactly what you wanted him to. So that's a good spot to be at for him. And playing with Connor Bedard, I think that can allow, when Bedard is in his groove, that can allow for other guys to get into theirs and into their style of play, and it feels like it meshes well, and Nazar too. Like, I think when he's feeling himself in his own style of play, that can make the team around him better.
Doesn't it just feel like if he gets like a 2-point game or scores on a breakaway, it's just going to open the floodgates for him?
I hope so. He's been real close.
Hit another post today, right?
Yeah. It was no, I think it got Saros.
Oh, it did. Yeah,
it was either his blocker or
it looked at first like a post,
but it was.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a really good shot. Like, he continues to get to those areas where he sets himself up for really good opportunities, and it's not just like, it's not just by chance. Like, he thinks the game really well for a young guy, and has the determination to get to those areas. Like, get to the center, get to the middle of the ice between the face-off dots, and create offense there. That's the highest danger area that you can be at, besides being, right on the blue paint. And he's got that knack for trying to get there and make things happen there. Bedard does the same thing. And I think having two guys that have that mentality together, paired with a guy like Bertuzzi, who will go to the blue paint area and be there for rebounds and redirections, and cause some chaos around there to score goals. Like, I don't know. That seems like a really good trio.
Want to mention, by the way, you may have noticed our new Eddie Belfour bust on set here. This is made by my buddy Pete Farrell. We talked about it in the pregame show. He is a longtime Hollywood makeup artist, I think you would call it. As a kid, when I knew him growing up in grade school, he used to make fake wounds and everything on his friends and family, and it was always very entertaining.
And Step Brothers.
Yes, exactly. Yes, but they're very real, very convincing, and he made it into a career in Hollywood. He made the Thing in Fantastic Four, and he also made the Thing in Boogie Nights. The Thing. Mark Wahlberg's Thing is the handiwork of Pete Farrell. So if you want to check out his stuff on Instagram, it's PCC Workshop. And he does commission these things. So if you're interested in something like this, doesn't have to be Eddie Belfour. He did one for former NHL goalie Pat Jablonski, made one of him. But if you want like a Jocelyn Tebow or a Corey Crawford, hit up Pete at PCC Workshop on Instagram and talk to him, and he'll get it done for you. And on his page, there's so much of the cool stuff that he's made in his career, including some really creative Halloween costumes for his nephews. So again, PCC Workshop on Instagram. If you are so interested in a Blackhawks bust like the Eddie Belfour one we have here, it looks absolutely awesome. All right, Sarah, let's reveal the 4-star of the game. I guess it was going to be Frank Nazar. Am I correct? I am not correct.
Oh.
It was Arvid Soderblom.
Arvid Soderblom. Yeah, I mean,
he was great.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, they're not in the game without him.
No.
38%. That's how much you won.
Oh, that's how many saves?
Yeah, Nazar had 31%.
Okay, so pretty close.
And then Connor Bedard had 30.
All right, that's
pretty close. Yeah,
I'm surprised it was that close for the three.
for the three.
I thought it was gonna be Nazar and Soderblom
no,
neck and neck.
Soderblom, he had a fantastic game, and I think it's so funny, like the goaltending tandem of the season. It's like either Mrazek or Soderblom will have like a really good game, and then they'll the next time they're out they have another good game, but it's with a start from the other one in between.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, well now they're the hot hand, and then they'll give it back-to-back starts.
They'll get shelled.
And then that second start, it's just like, oof, okay, back to the other guy. Like,
just alternate.
I just want one of those guys to just be like, really good start. Okay, well, you're going to get back-to-back starts. Okay, another really good start. I would love that.
Someone take the job.
Yeah, I would just love that for one of those guys. To get on that run. But great night from Soderblom. I'm sure we'll see Mrazek play on Saturday.
That makes sense. I got a super chat from Tim Evans, $2, says great show. Appreciate the forum. Clap hands emoji. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate that. And your well manicured beard.
One clap. Is that a song?
I don't know. Sarah?
God. No, it's not a
youth correspondent.
It's not a youth song.
No. One clap.
I don't know what
one
you're
clap.
talking
Nothing?
about. No.
Yeah. Doesn't ring a bell to me.
It's a rap song. It's got to be. Forget it.
I have.
What is it? Someone in the chat's got.
Someone's got to know the one clap song.
It's not that song.
I like that song better. There's several claps in Connor's Corner.
I miss Connor's Corner.
Do you?
I do.
He's too old now.
I know.
He's a grown man. Not really.
He's.
Yeah. Well, maybe as the season runs down, we bring back Connor's Corner and we do some tank spins. Just for funsies. I know people love the tank spins.
Well, there's no point in doing tank spins when
you have the
top odds.
You have
You're
the top
setting
odds.
yourself up for.
And the NHL is going to rig it again.
Oh yeah.
They can't have the Hawks being this bad for this long.
Rigged.
Pat Maroon said it. The league needs the Hawks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's right. So rig it, Gary. Do it.
All right, hold on.
Beast of Burden says the electric slide.
Nope.
Oh, don't get us banned.
You can't hear.
You got him muted. Yeah, we don't want to get. Mark Lamont says "Clap for the Wolfman," a song about STDs.
No. This isn't the song I was thinking of.
All right.
I don't know. It's whatever. Forget it. I'll remember it on my drive home, and
and jump on the Discord.
I'm gonna go on
voice
Discord
channel and tell everybody.
I'm gonna do a Twitter Spaces. This is the song I was thinking of.
You and Greg Braggs.
Yeah. Well, he's always
Twitter Spaces. I'm in the bathroom. Twitter Spaces. I'm in the car. Twitter Spaces. I'm grocery shopping. Greg, log off, buddy. We love you, but log off. Greg Braggs, it is. Greg Boyson will be logging back on for us soon, which is very, very exciting. All right. I want to remind everybody, speaking of the members-only Discord, to become a diehard at allchgo.com. It's a great way to support us. It's a great way to get access to all of our great written content, including the rebuild report, the Blackhawks beat, which I have to do tomorrow. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'll do something. Friday snuck up on me. It's been a long week. But I'll have something for you tomorrow. Did you find it?
Yes. Yep.
All right. Go to allchgo.com. Not only will you get access to all the great written content, but the members-only Discord that I mentioned, which also we do occasional after games on the ride home, jump in the voice channel, answer some questions there. You'll get priority on our Mailbag Monday shows. And most importantly, you get a free shirt or hat upon sign up and 20% off all of our merch, all of our takeovers, all of our watch parties, and everything in between.
We do have our Notre Dame shirt.
Yes,
for the game
let's see
that's
it.
coming up. What time? When's that game?
That is Monday night.
Is that Monday night?
Play like a champion. The night of our sweet takeover at the United Center. Bad planning by us, but you know what? It's actually going to be better.
Well, we didn't think that Notre Dame would actually get to the
I
national
did.
championship game.
As soon as they lost to Northern, I said this team's never losing again. But yeah, it'll be on in the suite for you. By the way, we'll give a tiny little tease. If you're coming to the suite, there will be several surprises for you.
Yes.
We won't get more specific than that.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. It'll be worth it. So our top shelf takeover on Monday, Hawks and Carolina. But we will be back before then on Saturday night after Hawks and Vegas. How are we feeling about that one? Not good?
If they play like tonight, it should at least at the very least be an entertaining game.
And they beat good teams.
Yeah, they get up for good teams, and good teams don't get up for the Blackhawks, and it evens the playing field.
Perfect. All right, you got the song. What is it?
Yes, it is by Randy Moss. It is called
football player.
Yes, it is called One Clap, and it was from 2010, and it's just a remix of Randy Moss sound bites, mixed by DJ Steve Porter. And
no DJ Oreo.
He goes and Randy Moss, when he was with the Patriots, used to do a chant or cheer in the locker room that would start with, "All right, everybody, one clap," and then it became a song as I destroy our microphone.
That's fine. It's already destroyed.
So
he was sort of predicting the skull chant for the Vikings.
Sure.
Yeah.
He wasn't with the Vikings when he
I know,
did
but it's, kind of.
So you can find it on YouTube. Randy Moss, One Clap, DJ Steve Porter. Again, uploaded in October of 2010. So
good times.
Lower your expectations for product for quality there.
And Mark,
it's gonna be in crystal clear 480p.
And Mark Lamont in the chat says, instead of Connor's Corner, how about Crevier's crevice? I'm not making that graphic.
That's for the Mando reads.
All right, we're going to be back Saturday post game. We'll see you then. We'll miss you until then. Hit the like button on your way out. Thanks for watching and listening to the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.